Hello, everybody. This is Allen Devlin with Atlanta News First. I want to wish you all a happy Monday and a first day of spring here this fine March. It's still cold outside, though, so you couldn't even really tell it's spring. But I'm going to have meteorologist Patrick Pete coming up later on today to talk about what we can expect moving forward. It's going to be a pretty decent weekend, but he'll be able to tell you better than I can. We've got a couple of stories I want to walk you through. Again, my name is Allen Devlin. I'm an anchor here with Atlanta News First, and I've got three stories specifically, some local, some national, as always, that we're going to be able to discuss and provide some feedback on back and forth. If you see anything you like or you want to drop a comment or ask a question, feel free to do that on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching this. I can see and read your commentary as we kind of rock and roll. Hello to some of you guys, Max and Michael. Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you both on board. So we're going to go ahead and get right on rolling with what we've got here with Atlanta News First. First story is one that originated in Georgia but ended in New Orleans. The body of a Georgia father, a Georgia man, Nathan Millard, was discovered in New Orleans last week. And at first, the police weren't necessarily sure what had happened to him or why it had happened. They just knew he was found dead in a rug outside of a funeral home. And since then, we've gotten a little bit more detail on what they believe happened. And we got some updates today, actually, the latest that we know in this case. This is that man, Nathan Millard, again, a Georgia father found dead in New Orleans. He disappeared, and then he was caught on security cam video in New Orleans by himself. The police came out and arrested this man in connection with the disposal of Millard's body. This is Derek Perkins. He was arrested and charged in connection to the disposal of the body, but not Millard's death. Police say Millard likely died from an overdose, and there is no foul play suspected. So now there's questions surrounding why Derek was involved in putting Millard's body in that rug behind that funeral home, what led to that, and where we're at now. Millard is, again, from Georgia. We're not sure why he was in New Orleans either. So there's still a lot of questions, and they think that Derek Perkins, who originally was a person of interest and now has been arrested in connection to the improper disposal of the body, this man right here, again, Derek Perkins, will be able to answer more questions and maybe provide some feedback on what happened to Nathan Millard. Thoughts and prayers go out to him, his family, and everyone that knew him. His body right now remains in New Orleans. The next story I want to talk to you guys about is a sad story that first broke earlier today. Zach Summers has been covering it all evening. A ambulance slams into an SUV, and two people involved in that crash dead tonight, one of them being an EMS worker. I've got some video of that crash scene from the Atlanta News First chopper. Take a look at this. It was a fiery crash. You can see the ambulance right there, the ProCare van, the transport, the stretchers out there on the back, and the door of that ambulance is up next to that car. That car almost wrapped around that pole. Nasty crash. We're told that a passenger in the ambulance died, and the driver of that SUV died as well. So it's just a terrible tragedy here on Campbellton Road. That crash happened around 1 p.m. Zach Summers got out there very, very quickly to bring us the latest on what was happening, but the coroner's office has not ID'd the two victims in this case. Once we get an ID, we'll let you know. But like I said, one of those people was that EMS worker, the passenger in that EMS van. The other, the driver of that SUV you see up there on its side on the hill. We're not sure if that EMS van was transporting anybody else that was injured or sick at the time, or if those lights were flashing, or how we got to this point. But a nasty, nasty wreck there on Campbellton Road, just south of Atlanta. The third story I want to talk to you guys about is kind of a wombo combo here, where we've got a whole slew of Trump-related legal troubles that I'm sure you guys have been following if you are into politics, whether you're here in Georgia or not, because it's kind of a twofold connection to the former president with this situation. So the first one I want to talk about is Trump. We'll go in chronological order. How about that? So in chronological order, over the weekend, you probably are aware that former President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, his own social media site, to announce he believes he's going to be arrested tomorrow, on Tuesday, in relation to the hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels, adult film actress Stormy Daniels, back before he was elected during his campaign. This is Trump and Stormy. This is a big unraveling as far as how we got here. basically, the New York district attorneys are alleging that Trump illegally paid money, hush money, to Stormy Daniels using campaign funds, and then got reimbursed for those campaign funds illegally, and then had Michael Cohen work to cover the whole thing up. This is Cohen right here on your screen. Cohen came out a little while later, back in 2020, I believe, 2021, and kind of said, this is what happened. It was illegal. I only did it because I was told to. We've moved forward 2-3 years. Here we are where they believe, based on these leaked documents, based on Trump's own accusations, that he can be arrested for that illegal payment. Trump is saying that it is a farce and that he did nothing wrong. He is maintaining his innocence, and he's also calling on his supporters to protest on Tuesday if he is arrested, as he alleges. Again, the New York District Attorney has said nothing about these allegations. They've only began to prep and further prepare for that violence, expected violence that could come if he is arrested. Now, Atlanta News First Patrick Quinn spoke to an attorney here in Atlanta about these accusations. I want you to listen in on what he had to say. Actually, we're going to wait. We're going to pause on that because I want to talk to you guys about what came down in the last 24 hours before we jump into some more things, trying to keep it chronological here. So on top of the situation where Trump may get arrested tomorrow, of course, his supporters hoping that is not the case, many Republicans hoping that is not the case, Trump is also, his team is trying to get the grand jury, the Georgia investigation, the special grand jury into his alleged election meddling in the 2020 election thrown out. They want all the evidence expunged and dropped because they say it was found and derived unconstitutionally. Those are their words at this hour. So with that in mind, now you've got Trump trying to get his hands off of any involvement in this grand jury, and you can see some of the documentation right here. At the same time, we're now learning that the Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis, is possibly pursuing racketeering charges, RICO charges, against Donald Trump for his involvement. And it's kind of a back and forth right now. The chances of Trump getting it thrown out are very, very slim, according to the experts that we spoke to today. That does not mean that an indictment will come. That just means that this case will continue, this investigation will continue to move forward. You can see Patrick Quinn right here speaking to an attorney here in Georgia about the chances Trump has moving forward. I want you to listen to what he had to say earlier today. Take a listen.
They're just throwing kind of everything at the wall and hoping something sticks. But I think most people who observe these proceedings and who follow these matters closely understand that there really isn't any merit to what they're arguing. It's just, there's nothing there.
So you heard it there first, and that's just one of the experts. There are a lot of experts that say the opposite. They're just saying that the district attorney is throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, or that New York State is throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's this back and forth. No charges have been filed against Trump yet. So ultimately, we're just going to have to wait and see how this whole thing pans out. If Trump is alleging that he's going to be arrested tomorrow based on illegal leaks that he says on Truth Social, then we will get answers tomorrow. We'll know what's going to happen. If he is indicted and he is arrested, we will move forward and follow that as it proceeds. But again, that is completely separate from what is happening here in Georgia with the Fulton County District Attorney and his election meddling. If you look back, this is one of the earliest accusations involving potential President Trump and then would-be President Trump, all the way back to 2019, 2020 with these Stormy Daniels hush payments when Trump was running for president. 2016, I should say. I apologize. All the way back to 2016 when Trump was running for president. Way back 2015, 2016. Of course, we know Joe Biden was elected in 2020, I should say. So here we are trying to figure this whole thing out, and it's caught up to Trump now 5-6 years later with this Stormy Daniels hush payment. But again, no indictments, no charges filed. It is still up in the air. This is just going off of what Trump had to say about his own documents that he had. And I'm looking and I'm speaking. Hey, guys, everybody that's joining me here on Facebook. I appreciate your feedback. I see you guys chiming in. Wesley, all the way from Ackworth. It's a pleasure to have you on board here. Hope you guys got a good listen in to everything we just had to talk about there. And I am now going to toss it over to First Alert meteorologist Patrick Pete, who's going to be able to chime you guys in on some of the weather we've got coming up here in Atlanta. And I can tell you, Patrick, it is beautiful out there right now, but man, it is cold, right? Is it going to get any warmer?
It will. We just have to get through the overnight hours where we are talking about temperatures that are going to be dropping to or below freezing far parts of the region as we head through the overnight. So you may have gotten that alert if you have that Atlanta News First Alert weather app telling you that, hey, temperatures are going to drop as we head through the evening hours. So we are talking about a beautiful shot right now with temperatures that are a little chilly. If you were thinking about stepping outside this evening, these numbers are looking pretty good, but it is going to get much colder as we head through the overnight. Now, the good news, it will not be as cold tonight as it was this morning when you stepped outside. Temperatures are going to be in the lower 30s. I think we'll be at or below freezing from LJ and Rome and Canton. I think that the Atlanta perimeter is going to be just above freezing, but that freeze warning is extended for all of our viewers as we push through the overnight. Here's a look at that hour-by-hour breakdown of what you can expect as far as the sky is concerned tomorrow. And we're going to start off with mostly sunny skies, but a few clouds will trickle in as we head into the afternoon. Those clouds look to be a bit higher, so not going to do much damage to us. We're actually going to see the numbers trend a little bit warmer as we head through parts of your Tuesday. So you'll need a lighter jacket as you step out. We'll be in the mid-30s by the time you're punching the clock. But as we head into the afternoon, those numbers are going to be climbing into the lower 50s. And we're actually going to see the 60s for a little bit as you get off work. So if you had some errands to run, or maybe you were aching to get in a nice run this weekend, but it was just a little bit too cold both days to do it, I think once you get off work tomorrow, if you maybe hightail it home and you don't have too much of a long commute, I think that you're going to have some solid hours to get a nice bike ride or run in before the numbers start to cool back down. Here's a look at how we start off your Wednesday morning, and there is a 20% chance of showers, but you can see that most of that rain is really hugging the border, so we think that folks in the mountains are going to have the best chance of seeing some of those showers. That system is going to stay north of the region, and we'll actually see some sunshine across the I-20 corridor and points to the south, so that's going to allow temperatures to actually climb into the lower 60s by 12 o'clock. And then getting into the 70s for a few hours as we get closer to around 4 to 5. And we're going to hover in the 70s with some locations actually getting into the mid-70s. I'm talking to you out in LaGrange and Thomaston and even Jonesboro getting into the lower 70s. And then those numbers are going to be milder as we head through the overnight. And if you're like me and you're kind of over the chilly numbers that we saw yesterday, the trend is going to get a little bit more agreeable as far as warm numbers. But we have more rain opportunities to talk about. And this is our best chance of seeing some rain move in. And this is going to happen overnight Friday into Saturday. That's what our guidance continues to point towards. I think if you're heading out at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, maybe stepping out for a night on the town, have that umbrella because that rain is going to get heavier as we get into those early morning hours. By 8 o'clock, I do think that we're going to be dealing with that main line pushing out some stray showers on the backside. But as we get closer to 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I think we're drying out. And that's going to set us up for a pretty sunny Saturday afternoon. Temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler than they're going to be Thursday and Friday, where we're actually going to get into the 80s. But I think we're going to be winning. So let's break down that forecast because a lot's going on this weekend. Your Atlanta News First Alert weather team, we will all be out Saturday and Sunday in between those hours for the Georgia Food and Wine Festival. This is going down at Jim R. Miller Park out in Marietta. It's going to be a pretty solid forecast. Saturday and Sunday, the afternoon numbers are going to get into the low to mid 70s. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable and it's going to be nice to be out. And if you know anything about me, you know I love a nice glass of Cabernet Franc or something, Malbec or anything red really. So it's going to be a nice time for you to get out there, come and say hey. And we're going to see some very pleasant weather. This past weekend was a bit chilly, and thankfully as we move forward into this weekend, the numbers are looking more agreeable. Those rain chances are going to exit early Saturday morning, and I think we dry out on the backside. And we're watching another system that's going to move in at the beginning of next week, and that's where that 40% chance of showers are in the cards for your Monday, so you'll want to stay tuned. We may end up having to first alert that depending on the timing. So lots going on as far as the temperatures are concerned, and we're talking about gaining 20 degrees in the afternoon over the course of the next few days. So we're definitely going to be winning there. These numbers are going to be pretty pleasant once you get off work. And if you're a person like me who comes into work late, early afternoon, I think that you're going to really enjoy some of that daytime fun before work. I'm going to leave you with the 7-day forecast. So, of course, you can plan ahead. And we're going to continue to fine-tune our forecast for these spotty mountain showers on Wednesday, and of course that weekend rain chance. For the ladies, you can tune in tonight at 9, 10, and 11, and we're going to have updates for you.